Hello and welcome everyone. This is going to be an MVIS trade breakdown from last Friday. So starting the video a little differently here, I have screenshots of prints here. So aspirants at 21, aspirants at 2150, and then aspirants at 22. So just analyzing these prints here, we see that 21, that is going to be our app print personality. So this is what we're going to base print personality off of. 2150, a little larger than our app print personality, and then 22 significantly larger than our print personality, would say about 3 times. So what does that mean? We see these prints, and what does that tell us about the market maker's intentions? So we know that above print personality means that they need to pull back and build greater than what they normally would have, right? So 21, say that needs to pull back and build 50 cents, right? 21 aspirants. That from our increments the stock trades in tells us the market maker needs to pull back 50 cents to build. 2150 slightly above, so maybe slightly above 50 cents on a pullback for them to build. And then 22 ask way above print personality, say about 3 times. That tells us the stock needs to pull back at least $1.50, right? This is just from analyzing the prints and looking at the prints. So 2050 would be a logical price target from the market maker that needs to build. So just looking at the prints, we can analyze market maker intentions. We know that this tells us this is just the tip of the iceberg of what they are accumulating. So that shows that they need to build based on our rules, right? So this looks like it's setting up for a number 1 short trade. And then I'm going to bring up some prints right here. So this was our reaction to our 22 ask, right? So after that, we got a slight pullback, and then we have 0.73 bids here. So this is something to keep in mind. You can always come back, pause the video, and reference these in terms of the trade as well. So just going to close these out. So a little more context. Already talked about prints, right? So we had the prints at 21, 2150 on this push, and then 22 on this push right here, right? And then the 0.73 bids came in right here. So as you can see, just from the chart, we're going to analyze personality. It has shown minimal pullbacks, right? So we said just from those prints and the sheer increments that it trades in, it needs to pull back 50 cents. And did 21 aspirants pull back 50 cents? No, it didn't, right? And then looking at the volume pattern as well, we enter a dip, and then we got a trigger out, and then we got continuation, and then we got 2150 aspirants, and then we came back to another dip, and another trigger out, and then 22 aspirants, slight dip here, and then another trigger out. So it's been a theme there, right? And then we know this volume as well has been the highest volume that we've had all day, right? This is the volume that we consider money time, right? So they've had the opportunity to build all day on their position, and this is something that they're pushing to make money on, correct? This is volume they can acquire as quickly as possible. They can acquire tons of shares given this volume compared to the previous, what it's shown all day, right? So we know personality has shown minimal pullbacks. We know that we know the market maker's intention, so we know personality of stock and market maker's intentions, right? So we need to align both of those for us to be able to take a trade in this, right? You can take a trade long just from the personality as shown, but we know overall the market maker's intentions are for this to pull back to build at least 2050, right? But we just have to set up our trade in terms of timing, right? So we know we got 22 ask, way above print personality, and right here you could have been, well, why didn't it pull back immediately, right? And that's a great logical question. Why didn't our number 1 short trade just happen right then and there? And that comes into understanding its personality as well, and then comes back to understanding those 0.73 bids, right? Those bids were above print personality in terms of off level, and we know when we have anything that's above print personality needs to build, right? So bids needs to pull up, ask needs to pull back. So those in combination with the personality of dips and triggers out, set up for a very, very short-term pullback. And then we're pushing to 23 at the current moment. And then we know that Above 22, we didn't really get anything that stood out in terms of off-level buying, right? So if this thing was going to run to, say, 23.50, 24, possibly 25, we would see the ask prints above 22 in terms of like someone's a standout position that shows that this is going to go. They know exactly where this is going to go. And we really didn't get anything there, right? We didn't see the buying that really just stood out. There was nothing, right? So that was a big indication in combination of knowing the market maker needs to build, and then we're pushing to 23. Play the video now. So pushing to 23 now. We know personality of stock shows minimal pullbacks. We know overall intentions that the market maker needs to pull back and build. So we know that they have the volume to build as quickly as possible, but they still need to pull back the monetary amount. So we know when a stock has a personality like this, eventually it's going to change. It's not going to just have small pullbacks forever, and we need to identify when that large pullback is going to come, and it's going to happen all at once, right? So we're pushing at 23 here. Now we're analyzing what the prints are. I haven't seen any short-term buying under that says we're making a push, right? Not a thing. And the ask prints at 23 were real weak as well. So at this point, I'm just looking for a trigger down here. Real weak ask prints at per personality. They really could have took that order out at 23 that was there, but they didn't. That's a sign of that they don't want any more. Looking for a trigger down here. Taking a trade in this 70 to 80 area is good risk to reward ratio. The pullback needs to happen all at once in this area as well. We know above 22 is a psychological level, hard to hold. And we didn't even get ask prints at 22.50 that were above print personality. So two levels, 22.50 and 23 with weak ask prints. 22.50 psychological level, hard to hold. That was our trigger right there. Now we're just looking for follow through. We have our price target. We know the intentions of the market maker. We know the personality says quick pullback. So we are, we're still wary here. We still understand the personality. So it could be a quick pullback, but overall we know that the market maker needs to pull back to their monetary amount from what they showed at the levels, right? They tracked retail in above 22, made it look like it was going to break out. We knew that what the market maker was telling us the levels in combination of our personality, and then we find our logical spot for a short trade. We know the further the stock gets away from where it needs to be, the higher percentage the trade is going to be. And now we're just in it short. Now we're just managing it. So boom. Again, I think early on in my career, when learning this methodology and learning from Rich, I would see those 22 asks and immediately take a short trade in it without really understanding the personality and what has transpired in terms of the volume. How they showed building previously. Those variables were kind of out the door. It was just, oh, those ask prints are massive and they're above print personality, short time. And then I get short, and then I get shaken out, and then it make a quick push, and then it give us a full pullback like it is now, right? Some 22 asks there. Be mindful of a quick pull up here. So I would get shaken out, and then it'd go long, and then it would give us our full pullback, and I'd sit there in frustration. Like, I knew this was going to pull back. My timing was off, right? Why is my timing off? I knew from what Rich was telling us, and Rich just taught us that the number one short trade was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. My timing was just terribly off. So in this case, you have to really understand personality, right? And then understand the off level, those 0.73 bids. So understanding that we just didn't get those pullbacks from its personality. We knew that. We have to be very mindful of that. When the real pullback does happen, it's going to be all at once. When you see personalities like this have short pullbacks, you have to understand that if you want to take a short trade on it, you have to understand the market maker's prints, right? And then you want to let it get further away from where it needs to be, and you want to make sure that when the short trade happens, it's going to be an all at once type of trade. It's not as simple as just focusing on the prints and then, okay, prints came in, now I take the trade. It's no. What is the personality shown? Okay, what are the prints shown? Market maker says this, personality says this, and now I'm just waiting for it, the best high percentage trade within that. And it's always going to be if it gets further away from where it needs to be. And we're just in the short here, up almost $1, getting close to being up $1. We know it still has more room. We're not going to shy away from getting out of our trade here. We know our price target is going to be about 20.50, but we are mindful of, is that new selling going to come through? We do need that new selling to get there, right? Because the personality has shown quick pullbacks, right? So this could be a quick pullback as well. So we have to be mindful. We really want that selling, and we did get that selling at 22. Those bids at 22 tell us quick pullback, and we see our reaction if we have some more sell reaction above, and then we just wait for a bar down to break through 22. And it's just trade management at this point. It's nice selling under. No reason to get out. And all these, I guess, questions you should be asking yourself is, okay, print personality, that should be in your mind at all times, right? What is print personality? You need to be able to see the change in that, and then from the change in print personality, you ask yourself, what are the market maker's intentions by printing this much over print personality or this much under print personality, right? In this case, it was way over print personality. That tells us they need to build, right? It's as simple as knowing number one short trade off of aspirants above print personality. And then after that, we analyze that. We have, okay, this is our price target on the pullback. Now we're like, what other variables do we need for this trade to occur, right? In this case, we looked at personality. What's the personality need to look like for this trade to happen, right? And we knew we didn't get those large pullbacks. We knew that we had to be very mindful of that. And then you allow it to continue to push, allow it to get further away from where it needs to be, and then you take that short trade. And we, in this case, we had a psychological level that it broke through that obviously is hard to hold, right? Psychological levels are hard to hold. And then we didn't even get good aspirants there or anything above print personality. It was way less than at print personality at 22.50 and at 23. So it was just a storm brewing there for a entry for a pullback trade. Pushing without the prints, pushing without the short-term buying, and we know it needs to build. We just set ourselves up for a trigger. If you find yourself having issues with trades like this where you get all those aspirants above print personality and then your just timing is off, definitely look into personality, right? Look into the volume. Okay, this volume is the most significant it's been all day. They can pull back as quickly as possible and still acquire as much as they need, right? So it's almost like two different time frames. Like in the short time frame, they can get what they need to push this stock, but overall, that 22 told us this stock needs to pull back. So we're combining those two time frames, and then we add the variables to take the trade, the short trade. We knew they needed to pull back, but also they had the volume to continue to push this. In reality, they set up retail there above 22. We knew we needed to build. We knew 0.73 needed to pull up. Got both those. Beautiful trigger off 23. Real lack of aspirants there. Real lack of aspirants at 22.50. 22.50 being hard to hold. It's just a beautiful short trade. And it's really not the most complex breakdown as well. Once you understand market maker and personality, they just fit hand in hand. I don't have any more notes to go over, really. Just let this trade play out a lot for the next few minutes. But thank you all for listening. I appreciate it. See you all Monday.